This is problem 9.4a that's on page 325 in your textbook. This will be similar to a part of your test, so I'd like you to pay particular attention to it. This is a company called Lytle Company, and it has in its general ledger account as of June 1st money and FICA tax, B, federal income tax payable, C, federal unemployment tax payable, D, state unemployment tax payable, and E, employees' medical insurance payable. So those amounts are important to us as we record the transaction that occur on page 326. And so on June 13th, so let's go ahead and put in the year here, and the month and day. And it said on June 13th that we issued a check payable to Security Bank for the monthly deposit of May's FICA taxes and the employee's federal income tax withheld. Because we're a small company, we have until the 15th of June to turn in May's taxes. And so the first one we're going to talk about is the employee's federal income tax. So if you go back to page 325, notice that there's an amount in there, a balance of $995. So we're going to send that money into the federal government. Also in FICA tax payable, there's a balance of $1,714.40. This is representing the employees and the employers match. So this is the total of the employees and the employers together. So since we're making a check out, it's going to be to cash for the sum of both. And we would write a check number. In this case, they didn't give us one, but would be check number and whatever it was. On the 30th, we record the payroll entry because they're paying people on the end of the month. So this is on the 30th. And there are two types of workers here. There are salespeople and office people. So it's separated into two. Here's your sales salary expense for $1,490. They tell us that it would come from a payroll register. The other people are their office salary people, and they earn $5,147. So this is the gross pay. Now the deductions are as follows. There's employees' federal income tax, and that's based on your taxable earnings, your marital status, and your number of exemptions that you claim. In this case, it came out to $1,725. That was kept out of the workers' paychecks. Now, the employees' Social Security tax deducted and the Medicare are listed there. Those two go into FICA tax. They're separated when you do the figuring, but as soon as, because one has a cutoff, Social Security does, and Medicare does not. So you have to separate them when you initially do the computations, but then you add them back together. So that's FICA taxes is the employee's share. And the employee's payment toward their medical insurance, they tell us is $755. The total deductions are $3,752.73. So the take-home pay for these folks is going to be the gross minus all the deductions, and so they're going to take home $12,884.27. Okay, going on to the next one. On the 30th, we're going to record the payroll tax, and so there's an extra line here, don't worry about it. On the 30th, then we're going to debit payroll tax expense, and we're going to credit FICA tax. We're going to credit state unemployment tax. We're also going to credit federal unemployment tax. So this is all based on the taxable earnings. So the FICA tax should be roughly the same amount that we have up here. But you always need to do the computations again just to make sure. You would go to the taxable earnings for unemployment and multiply that times 5.4 to get this amount. And the federal unemployment is the taxable unemployment times 0.8%. Once you have these three numbers, you get to write off the sum of those as an expense. Also on the 30th, we paid our workers. So we're paying them the take-home pay. We're paying them this much, and we're paying them from we're going to pay off this liability, so we're debiting the liabilities. And because we have 2 checkbooks and 2 cash accounts, we have a cash account called payroll bank account that we only use for when we do payroll, and this is how it would look. So this is, and then if you had any checks here, you could list the checks that you give your workers. On the 14th, we issued a check to the insurance company. We're sending in the employees part of their medical insurance, and so we have to write in the month and the day, July 14th, and we are paying in the employees' medical insurance payable. This is how much they've been paying, contributing, and you can find that balance back on page 325. And we're sending in a check for that amount, and we would put a check number. Should have a check number. We don't in this particular illustration. On the 14th, again, we wrote another check for the federal tax deposit. This is similar to a Form 941, the information that goes on this. And they're sending it on the 14th because we have until the 15th of the following month. We're paying off the federal income tax. We're also paying the balance of the FICA tax. So those 2 amounts are liabilities that are being paid, so they're debited, and we're writing a check to make that payment for the total there. And you would have a check number there also. Okay, next we would on the 31st turn in the state unemployment tax. So we're going to date it the 31st. And I think I have that on the next page. Okay, so month, day, and year go in here. And then we're paying the state unemployment tax payable, so that's a debit to that account. And we're paying cash. And we would have a check number. To identify. Okay. And we don't have it, so we'll just do like that. Okay, and then we're going to have another one here. This would be on the 31st, we're making the deposit of the federal unemployment. So we're going to take that and debit that liability account and credit cash. And there should be a check number also for this one. Okay. And that concludes this one.